Hey everyone, it's Lisa, and today I think I'm going to do kind of a little bit of a different video for me, more of a vlog. And this was inspired, this is something I've thought about talking about before, and I've mentioned it, and I've always kind of shied away from, I don't know, it seems like when I start to talk about things I get so many different opinions, and I'm always worried I'm going to say something to offend someone, say something to hurt someone, or you know, something like that. So I'm going to do this video, but I'm not really going to respond to a bunch of personal messages about it because it's such a case-by-case decision. And the subject I'm talking about is divorce. And the other day when we talked about what makes us feel sexy, a lot of you were surprised to hear that I have been divorced. And actually John has been divorced too. We were both married before, and we both did not have children before. So my children are the children from John and I. And both of us coincidentally were married about 4 years. I was married about 5 years, but I was with my husband about 4 years married, and then with him years before that. And so many of you had comments and seemed to be pleased and relieved to know that you can feel sexy again, and you can most definitely find true love and happiness after divorce. And a lot of times, especially like even this past Sunday when I was sitting in church and I'm listening to the sermon, I sit and I wonder, am I spending my time doing the things that I should be doing? Is YouTube, are these videos really a good way to spend my time? Am I contributing? What am I doing good with my time? And I think that things like this are things that would be good, and you have to let me know what you think, but I really do think there is a need for women to support each other as wives, as friends, as mothers. And this is a different venue. This can be just like a mom's group or a wives group or going out with your girlfriends, and we don't have to leave our homes, because I guess you probably know, I'm really kind of a homebody. Of course, I like to go shop, I like to go out to eat, but I'm not one to go on a girls' weekend. I'm not one to go out on Friday night with the girls or anything like that. I pretty much like to be home with my family. And we love to go out, but I want to be home, or I want to be with them. So I thought, this is a good outlet for things like that. And so back to divorce. I'm not really going to go into my first marriage or my first husband or anything like that, because I don't have any hard feelings whatsoever. Matter of fact, I just thank God for everything that's happened in my life the way that it did, because it got me to this point. And I can honestly say, without a doubt, I am one of the happiest people you will probably ever meet. And just spread that happiness to you. I want to tell you that it can be achieved, especially after divorce. So going back to that, I was married at age 22. I had started dating my first husband. I went to high school with him, but he was not my high school sweetheart. I did have a high school sweetheart for about 4 years. And right after I broke up with him, I started dating my first husband. So we knew each other, but not really very well. And he was my age, but he was actually a grade behind me, so I really wasn't in any classes or anything with him. And we dated and got married when I was 22, and we just had a different vision of where we were going from that point on. I really kind of want to do a separate video on that, because I take full responsibility for that, because the way he kept going was the way he had been. And that is just the truest vision of how a person is going to be. What they're going to do is what they've done in the past. And that was my fault. I should not have just assumed that he wanted the same things that I did. And he was never, abusive, never once just did anything to hurt me, except for just some neglect, probably hurting my feelings and my pride and my self-esteem. But really, in hindsight, I should have known. I should have known. It was, it was never what I wanted, and I just thought it was going to be, and it never did. So I found myself at age, probably I think by the time we really split up, I was about 25. And we had had a brand new house on the marsh. I had a brand new Corvette. He had a brand new truck. We lived a good life. And I found myself all of a sudden losing my house, having to sell it. So I managed to keep a few things. You know, I got an apartment by myself, a brand new apartment. And I had, you know, we did not argue over anything. You know, we had to sell some things. And so I found myself in an apartment with, you know, nice furniture and everything. But I was still just so miserable. I mean, just so miserable, so heartbroken. Just my self-esteem was down to nothing. Just, I cried constantly this is the only time I have ever just cried from the minute I woke up. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been that sad where you just, I mean, I would have to take Tylenol PM to go to bed, and then I would just wake up crying. I could barely put my makeup on. And there were things that I did that I should not have done, like still hanging out with our same friends, still going to the places that I thought, or I knew he would probably be. You know, I should have separated myself to avoid that pain, but when you're in it, you just don't seem to get that for some reason. Okay, my two best friends had just split up with their husbands too, and coincidentally, all of our husbands were real good friends. It's a long, crazy story. I always say I could have done a TV show like Sex and the City or something with my life there in my 20s. But so my one best friend ended up moving back home. She had come here to go to college, and she moved back home with her children. Both of my girlfriends had had babies, and I didn't. And so I was terribly just heartbroken losing her, because she was a big source of support for me. And then my other best friend had just met her now husband. So she was just hot and heavy in the dating life. So I was very lonely. I didn't have anybody to really hang out with. I'm not a drinker. I've never been one to just be able to go out and drink in bars and everything. I mean, I would go to plenty of nightclubs and bars, but I would be the one drinking Coke. And so, you know, I did not do some wise things with my time. And I did not have a real big support system. But what I did, and this is what I advise you to do, is if you find yourself in a divorce and you're heartbroken, and mind you, I have no divorce in my family. My parents are still together. My mom had me when she was 19. My parents were just high school sweethearts. And I remember the other day, I complimented my mom on her ring, and she says, "Oh, your daddy gave me that for my 16th birthday." I mean, they've just been together forever. And my grandparents, all of my grandparents were still together. You know, all of my aunts and uncles. I just have no divorce in my family. So it was very just painful for me. It was something I was really pushed into it. It was my last resort. I had tried many, many, many times to make it work. And I had to just sit down and take a few minutes, more than a few minutes, a few months, to really process what had happened. You know, what went wrong. Where had I gone wrong in my thinking? Where had I gone wrong in who I chose to marry? Not that there was anything wrong with him. It's just I wasn't right for him. He wasn't right for me. And so I took a long time thinking. I mean, I would just think about, just in the car, you know, just all the time when I was going to sleep, I would think about what I wanted out of life. And I knew for a fact that I wanted children. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted, you know, I wanted a very stable relationship. I wanted to be happy with my husband. I wanted us to be best friends. I wanted us to enjoy being with each other, because that was something that I really didn't have before. And you know, when I was going through that miserable time, I would just be in traffic and I would just look beside me and see a couple just smiling and laughing and talking to each other. And you know, I used to wait tables, and I would just wait on couples that just seemed so happy to be together. And I just really wanted that. I really wanted someone who picked me over everything, that picked me over fishing, that picked me over playing golf, over everything, and was also as driven as I was about having a family and having a Christian marriage and values and wanting children and just wanting that life that I wanted. And so I had to just think about what I had done wrong, what I was going to do better in the future, and how I was never, ever, ever going to be in that situation again, ever. And I just made a few promises to myself, and first and foremost, I just really did a lot of praying and a lot of talking with my parents. And I can remember just going over to their house, which is the house I grew up in, and sitting there and just crying, sitting on the bar stool, and my mom would be across from me and my dad would be in his chair, and just crying and crying. And I know that just broke their heart, and I could just cry right now talking about it. And I remember my mom saying to me, Lisa, plenty of people have good second marriages. It's not like this is going to be it for you. Plenty of people have good second marriages. And I don't know why that was so powerful, but I guess it was kind of like them saying, because they loved my first husband, they loved him. And it was like them giving me permission or telling me it was okay to be divorced. And, I just really started this is what the main message I want to get to you. If you're going through heartache, don't focus on how things went wrong. Don't focus on your heartache. Focus on the future. Just almost get excited. And a lot of times when I see people that are heartbroken and divorced or just ending a bad relationship, I tell them, get excited, because now you're never going to have to feel that way again. I knew I was never going to have to cry over those things again. And I started really getting excited about the future and about, I knew there was some man out there that wanted a wife to come home to and cook for him and raise his children. I just knew that that was not something, even though society will make you think that there are not men out there that want that. Society will make you think that men only want career women and, they're equals as far as money goes. And so I was an old-fashioned girl, and even here in the South, it was scary to think about having to find that man that wanted that. But I just knew I was not giving that up. I was just not going to give up that dream of wanting my family and wanting a loving husband. And so another thing that my mom said, and this is when I got a little bit further into being divorced or being separated, and I started dating. My mom said, every date is a potential husband. So there is really no sense in going out with someone that is not husband material. And I know to a lot of you that's going to sound ridiculous. A lot of people just say, oh, date and have fun. The best way to get over old dogs with a new puppy and all those different things like that, which everybody said to me. And I did go out right in the beginning. I probably went out with some people I probably knew were not going to be husband material, and it surely fizzled out. And I could just write a book on my hilarious dates. On Monday, the girls in my office used to love to hear my stories because I went out with some just bizarre characters. But just that was really a good word of advice, because I think it's kind of, Match.com and all that stuff wasn't around back then. And because I guess that was probably around 1995 or 1994, 95, 96 is when this all took place. And so really that's kind of like the theory behind like Match.com and some of those is before you even go out with someone, you make sure they have the same goals and qualities that you're looking for and the same as you. And that's why you probably have a better success rate. And so that's probably what I started doing. And so what I did in that time, and this kind of goes in with the finding your sexy, is I really took time to just pamper myself and really try to get my self-esteem back going again. And I'd lost a lot of weight, because everyone knows that divorce will just make you feel like not eating ever, ever, ever. I mean, I had to make myself eat. And plus I had it in my mind that the skinnier I was, the more attractive I was going to be, and you know, just all that stuff that you start thinking when you get divorced, because your self-esteem is so low. And you know, my ex-husband was, you know, a good-looking guy, and he loved going to the strip clubs and stuff like that. So I already had that kind of in my head that I must have been less than, you know, if he were going to do that, which looking back, it has nothing to do with it. But so I really took some time, and that was the first time I had ever really worried about me instead of worrying about somebody else and trying to impress somebody else. I really did some things that I wanted to do, and that's when I started really getting into the trivial little things like lingerie. I remember going out and just getting all matching bras and underwear, and I had never done that before, and just, you know, every color. And I wore just really nice little suits. I remember Melrose Place. I always loved, was it Amanda's suits, and I got a bunch of those nice little suits to wear to work. And I'd always been into makeup, and I already had nice makeup from before then, and just perfume. And I remember every night I would work out in my apartment. I would do like free weights, and I had already been to a trainer and stuff, so I knew different things to do. So I would work out every night. I would paint my fingernails and my toenails to match my outfit the next day, and just I had my little bed all set up just so perfect, my apartment set up so perfect. And that's when I got little man, my little Siamese fluffy kitty, and I got another one to go with him, a flame point Siamese named Pumpkin, but he got hit by a car when I moved in with John. It was very sad because I loved that cat. But I had 2 kittens, and just life just started again. And I can tell you, my first husband, I think it just threw him for a loop, because he had kind of tried to keep me on a string a little bit. And just when I began feeling empowered and just excited, and I just felt like I had this bright future ahead of me, and that I would never have to be in that dark place again. Whenever I shut the door on that dark place and I started looking towards what was in my future, it just opened a new world, and you couldn't stop me. And so I dated, and I don't know how many guys I went out with. And I dated one guy before John that I really liked, but we did not have the same vision. He was not really ready for marriage and didn't know if he wanted children. And I've told you before, I'm attracted to older men. So most men that I went out with were at least 10 years older than I was, if not more. And I really liked that, because I like older men, because I like to be treated special. That's just how I feel. I know some women like younger men. You know, that's just, I've always liked older men. And I love a powerful man, and I love someone who's very driven. I wanted someone who was very family oriented, very career oriented. I just wanted everything that encompassed a strong man in my view. And that's where I don't want anyone to get offended or leave me ugly comments about what I want, because everybody wants something different. And I totally, now more than ever, respect that. You've got to find what the person who completes you and makes you feel even more you and even better than you ever did. And that's what John does for me. He loves me just the way I am. I mean, that was one thing too, when I started dating, I just did not hide a single thing about me. I told every single person that I went out with that I wanted children, you know, that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. You know, that's just what I wanted. And if they didn't want it, then, you know, it was time. It was no sense in going out with them anymore. So you need to be very open with yourself. You need to take time to think about what you want, what you don't want. You need to be very honest with yourself on the things that you did wrong in your prior relationship, because I know I did just so many things wrong. And I look back at things, and there are so many things I wish I could have even apologized to him for. And I don't ever see my first husband. I have not even seen him since before I met John. So since we don't have children, we're not connected that way. And but I know I did plenty of things wrong, you know, before and all throughout the marriage. So I knew I had to change some things within myself, and I had needed to just not, I think so many people, find somebody that they're attracted to and then find somebody that they love, and then they see, oh, does he want the same things I do? And then if they don't, they sacrifice things. And I'm telling you, I would have not sacrificed having children for George Clooney or anybody else that I think is just mega wonderful. I was not going to sacrifice that. And so once you get your goals, you know what you want, and you get excited about the future and take some time for yourself, then that feeling you can't be stopped after that. You just feel so good about yourself. And another thing too I really want to stress is, please listen to the people that love you. Your parents, your friends that you know are your true friends, not just somebody you've been hanging out with, but someone that you really know knows you and knows your true heart and what you want. I see that I've already been talking for 22 minutes, so I'm gonna have to cut this down because I know you don't want to listen to a bunch of stuff, but I just really feel like this is something I have to offer. And a lot of times we think, well, what we have to say isn't important, but you never know who you can reach. And I know when I was going through divorce, that is one of the lowest of the low times in my life. But I tell you, I just thank God so much for that whole relationship and that whole experience and getting to where I am now, because I could have ended up just in a much worse situation. So if you're going through divorce, please don't feel like it's the end of the world. Please don't feel like that's the only man that you can love. Just think of all the people in the world that are happy without him. That's what I used to think. I used to think, gosh, there's all these other people are happy without him. Why can't I be happy? And you just don't even know how happy you can be if you've been through a bad marriage. And if something happens and you think that you were happy but he wasn't, you might realize that you weren't happy at all. And I wish that I could just have everyone feel like I do, feel secure. And I really want to share that with you, how to achieve that. But I really don't want to. Last time I mentioned this, I had a lot of people write me personal messages and ask me about their specific situation, and I really just don't want to get into that because it scares me. I don't want to give you advice that's not true, me not knowing the situation, and I'm certainly not an expert. I just thought I would share my story and just how exciting it is to have that second chance. And just do not be sad about it. Just be excited. Just look forward to your new life and spend some time on yourself. Find your sexy. Find your confidence. You have to have that, I think, to really just go out there and grab what you want. You have to have that confidence. And so take that little bit of time. I think it took me a couple of months before I really felt like dating and getting on with it. And just like I said, if it was my relationship with God and my relationship with my parents pulled me through, because I can remember one specific night going out and seeing my ex-husband with a group of girls that he just directly went to after me, and just crying and crying and crying. Just, I could not go to sleep. I just could not. I was just freaked out. And I remember calling my mom at like 1:30 in the morning, and my parents go to bed. Now they go to bed about 7:30 or 8, but they used to go to bed about 9. And, my mom waking right up and talking to me, and I don't want to get upset again, but giving me that support. So you really need to find a good support system to kind of get you through those really low times so that you don't do anything. I'm not talking about anything dangerous. I'm talking about anything stupid, like, don't just get with other guys or drink or do drugs or anything to think you have to get through that time, because you don't. I didn't. And just really try to get through that time with support from your family, friends, your support system. And so I hope that helped a little bit. I know all of you aren't going through this, and maybe even if you have some support for some of those girls that are going through divorce, or women, no matter what age you are, this applies to you. And I realized I didn't have children, and see, that's just a totally separate issue. I cannot imagine, what that would be like. So I can't even really touch on that. And I'm not even going to, because I can't imagine it. So I guess my first advice would be children first, and take care of them and yourself first. Get yourself in order so that you can take care of your children. I mean, I think that's just a basic in life. You know, even on a plane, what they tell you to put your own life vest and your own breathing mask or whatever on first, so that you can take care of your children. And so let me know what you think about maybe these vlogs. I guess they kind of still go along with my sexy vlogs, because I'm the kind of woman, I love other women. Not in that way, of course I love men, but I love helping other women. I want other women to be happy. I want other women to be beautiful, feel sexy. I don't have any other, I'm not that jealous type woman. I want to empower other women. And so I'm hoping that maybe that's why I'm here. Maybe that's why I'm here on YouTube. Maybe that's something that, you know, I can contribute. So I'm going to do a quick outfit of the day, and I'll be right back. It's a casual outfit of the day, and you've probably seen it before, but you know, that's life. So I'll be right back. Typical around the house, you know, run out outfits. Just these same black little tops that I get at Walmart. They're Faded Glory, and I just love the way they fit. My Victoria's Secret sweatpants, the ones with the flare legs, and even though it is so cold, I still have on the Havanas, because I was trying to say I have claustrophobic feet. I hate tennis shoes. I can handle boots and stuff if I don't have socks on. So I'm weird like that. And then this is the jacket I'm going to wear today. It's just I love this jacket. It's that little puffer motorcycle jacket that I got from my mom for Christmas from Gap. And I just love it. So accessories today, I wanted to put on just something kind of blingy today. So I put on these earrings that I got at Belk's a couple months ago, back before Christmas. I can't remember the brand, but it's that, I think it's that New Directions or something brand. And I love these. They're not too heavy. And I did not wear false eyelashes today because I'm going with my mom to visit my grandmother in the nursing home. So I figured I would give my eyelashes a break today. And I have on that Rimmel lipstick. I just love this lipstick. And I'll put the name of it down below because I can't remember. And no rings or bracelets. I have on my silver Michael Kors watch. I love this one. And I have on a new nail polish, which I really, really like. It is the prettiest light pink color, and it's limited edition. It just came out. It's the OPI Nicki Minaj, and it's called Pink Friday. And I saw it the day they were putting it out, and I thought, oh gosh, I don't need any more pink polishes. I've got so many. And then I think that night I saw Bonnie Love Style Beauty here on YouTube. She had it in her favorites, and I always love what Bonnie loves. So I thought, okay, I got to go back and get it. So I'm glad I did. This is 2 coats, and it is an opaque pink polish. It's kind of like Mod About You, but a little bit more wearable pink. So it's really pretty. And so I think that is it. Okay, I can't think of anything else. So I will see you here tomorrow for my Friday video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.